Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you to all who joined in today. I'm excited to be here for another week of virtual yoga. For those who have not joined in yet, my name is Madelaine Voegeli, and I'm excited to be leading you this morning. So just a few reminders as we go through class. Yoga is your own personal practice, so anything I say is merely a suggestion guiding us into the next poses, but if something doesn't feel right in your body, it is more than okay to modify as needed, or to sit down or lay down or come into a child's pose and rest until you're ready to join again. So keep that in mind. With that being said, let's get started. So sit in a comfortable seated position. Maybe your legs are crossed. Maybe you're sitting on your feet and your knees are together in front of you. And we'll just begin with some breathing. So checking in with our breath. Let's bring our hands to our belly here. Inhale. Feel that low belly expand, and exhale. Pull the belly button back in towards the spine. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We'll continue this pattern for a while. Maybe you'd like to bring one hand to your heart, keep one on your belly. Maybe you'd like both hands on your heart. This is completely up to you this morning. Over your next few breaths, begin checking in with your body this morning, noticing any aches and pains or any points of tension. Maybe you're tensing your knees or your shoulders or your face as we sit. And imagine a string put up towards the sky. So really sit nice and tall. Those shoulders rolled back and drop down the spine. Our necks as long as we can get them. Beginning to check in with the mind this morning. Just noticing what thoughts we're bringing with us to class. Any of those pesky to-do lists are wafting around in there. Maybe we can put them to the side for the next 30 or 40 minutes. And finally, begin checking in with your heart this morning. Checking in with where our feelings, our emotions are at today. With no judgment, no need to analyze or interpret how things are feeling. Simply noticing where we're at. And no matter what we're focusing on, mental, physical, emotional this morning, just know that it's perfectly okay to be exactly where you're at. And for the next 30 to 40 minutes, we can just table those things and work on being fully present. We'll take 3 more breaths here. After your third, you can gently open your eyes, or you can keep them closed and just listen to my voice. We'll inhale, reach the arms out to the side, palms facing up. Really roll the shoulders back here. We want that chest to be nice and open. We spend a lot of the day hunched over, so see if you can really open up. Crown of the head lifts towards the sky. Imagine a string pulling your heart up as well. Feeling nice and open here. We'll inhale, press the air up overhead. Hold that sun in your hands, so palms face each other, pinkies are slightly angled in. And on your next breath, go ahead, drop your hands down. If you're in cross-legged pose, or if your knees are together, either one is fine. We'll begin walking our hands forward. So we want to keep the spine as straight as possible here. I know I'm wearing a hoodie today, but I'm hinging at the hips. So you want to bring your hands down here, keep the spine straight, and begin walking forward. If this is all you've got today, that is fine. We don't want to curve everything. We want to keep a straight line from tailbone to the top of the head. So hinge as far forward as you can. Maybe you're still warming up and this is just fine. Maybe you know you've got more in you, but you're still waking up. So just listen to your body here. Maybe take a few breaths. Notice where you're feeling this physically, maybe in your hips, maybe in your shoulders, maybe in your chest. Could be different on any given day. Maybe on your next exhale, you see if you can walk your hands just a little bit further. Check in with those shoulders. If they're crunching up to the ears, see if you can drop them down again. On your next big exhale, see if you can go another 1/8 of an inch or so. And just keep bringing yourself as far down as you can. When you've reached a stopping point, when your body says no more, stay there and take a few breaths. If you can go all the way down, you are welcome to do that as well. Take a few breaths. And on your next breath, slowly come back up. We'll stay in that seated position. We'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, left hand to right thigh or knee. Twist around behind us with the right hand. Gentle seated twist. We'll inhale into that belly. Exhale, pull the belly button in. Inhale, string pulls the crown of our head up higher. Exhale, twist a little more deeply. Follow this pattern here. So inhale, sit a little higher. Exhale, twist a little more, even if it's just a 1/16 of an inch. Return to center. Inhale, big breath, arms up. Exhale, hands come down. We'll switch legs. So if you're cross-legged, we'll switch whichever one's in front and back. If you're sitting with your knees together, you can just stay where you are. So inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, drop the hands in front of us. Straight spine, straight line from the tailbone through the crown of the head. Begin walking your hands forward. And once again, check in. So maybe for you, this is it. And you can keep those shoulders rolled back, chest leads, and this is just fine to be here. Maybe you can walk a little further down, leading with that heart, keeping that straight line. But wherever you're at, just breathe. Maybe you exhale, try to go a little bit further. Exhale, maybe a little bit further. And inhale, gently walk your hands back towards your legs. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, right hand to left thigh. Reach around behind us with the left hand. And follow your pattern here of inhale, sit tall. Exhale, twist. Maybe you bring that gaze over the left shoulder. Maybe it's just to the side of the room. You can always play here with your gaze. In a lot of yoga poses, the gaze will increase the balance challenge or deepen the stretch. So you can play with looking ahead to the side of the room or maybe to the back of the room if that's in your range of motion today. We'll inhale back to center, big arm circle up, big breath. Exhale, drop the hands down. They can rest on the legs, on the ankles, on the floor next to you, whatever feels best. And just begin some gentle neck rolls here. Going nice and slow. We don't want to slingshot our head around, pausing at any areas where you're feeling extra tension and maybe taking 2 or 3 breaths before moving on. We'll take 5 more breaths here, so feel into any places where you need that stretch the most before we move on. Maybe you lift your face to the sky if you haven't already. And whenever you've reached a good stopping point, go ahead and unwind the legs. And we'll come into tabletop pose. Knees stacked under the hips, hands under the shoulders. You have about 12 to 14 inches between both. Fingers are spread wide, tops of the feet are flat on the mat. We'll stay here for a moment. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. So really engage that core here and just feel the midsection beginning to warm up a little bit. Bring your focus back to your breath. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. We'll do one more big inhale. Keep pulling the belly button back. Exhale. And on your next breath, begin cat and cow. So drop the belly, lift the crown of the head and the tailbone up, and reverse. Tuck everything under. Round through the shoulders, tuck the crown of the head and the pelvis, and reverse. This is a really good opportunity to begin waking up the spine. If anybody has a sore lower back like me, this is a great way to say hello to that. And sync up your breathing with each movement, with the transition. So inhale one direction, exhale the other. Throw in any organic movement, so maybe that's dropping down to your forearms and dropping a hip to the side, or maybe the other side. Maybe it's rolling your head and neck around again. You can make this whatever you need it to be. And go ahead, begin wrapping up. We'll find ourselves back on all fours again. We'll bring our right knee into the center, keeping the hands planted. We'll lift our left foot up, 90-degree angle. Flex the foot so the sole of the foot faces the sky. We'll walk our left hand in a little bit. Doesn't have to quite be in the center. We're going to reach around with our right hand into a half bow. So you can adjust here. Maybe you need your hand to be out a little wider. And see if you can grab for your toes or your ankle. If not, this is just fine. We're going to work on our balance here. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. If you can grab that foot, great. And if it is in your range of motion, roll that right shoulder back and see if you can kick your knee up higher. If that's not in your practice today, once again, this is just fine. Wherever you're at, breathe deeply. Feel nice and strong. And as a modification, if this is too much, it's a little too wobbly today, you can always drop that hand back down and just keep the foot lifted. If you are holding onto your foot or your ankle, or you are reaching back, go ahead and drop that hand down. If you'd like a little bit of a challenge here, you can do 5 pulses. So really squeeze, kick that foot up towards the sky or kicking a hole in the ceiling. And go ahead, drop it down. Square off, big breath, inhale. Exhale, we'll kick that right foot up to the sky now. Flex the foot, 90-degree angle. Fingertips are spread wide. We'll reach around with that left hand. And maybe you don't quite touch your foot. Maybe you grab your foot or your ankle. And if you are able to grab it, really try to roll that shoulder, that left shoulder back, So sometimes it's easy to kind of hunch forward, really press through the right hand so we're nice and lifted. Roll that left shoulder back. And if you can create that space in your back, that'll give you a little more space to grab your foot. So if you're back here, see how that back knee is dropped. See if you can lift it up higher. And once again, these are all just suggestions here. So listen to your body, whatever is in your range of motion. And once again, to modify, if you need a little more stability, you can drop that hand down. And if you do have your left arm reaching back, go ahead and drop it down, and we'll pulse that right leg 5 times if you like. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job, everybody. Drop the knee. We'll just press back into a child's pose for a moment. So drop the forehead down. Arms are extended out front. If you prefer, you can keep the legs zipped up tight, or maybe you open them to the edges of the mat. It's kind of hard to see, but then your knees are open and you get a little more space to sink down into your hips. But relax the head and neck. Catch your breath. Maybe grab a sip of water. And we'll gently look forward. Creep those hands as far forward as you can get them. Come back up onto all fours, bring the knees together. We'll step the hands one handprint forward so they're up by the front corners of the mat. Flip the toes, press into downward dog here. Pedal out the feet. So lift the heel of one foot, drop the heel of the other. Maybe you roll your ankles. And really spread those fingertips wide, press into the heels, and press your heart towards your feet. So if you catch yourself kind of in a plank like this, see if you can rotate those shoulder blades and really bring your heart towards your toes. We'll take 3 breaths here. You can remain static, holding still, or maybe you like to find that movement in your downward dog. On your next breath, we'll inhale, gently walk our feet up towards our hands. So bend the knees if you need to, and find ourselves in forward fold here. So let the hands hang heavy, let the head hang heavy. Maybe your fingertips touch the mat, maybe not. Check in with your breath. And your next breath will come into ragdoll pose. So that's grabbing opposite elbow with opposite hand and staying in forward fold, keeping that head and neck relaxed. Your toes can be together, or maybe you walk them apart a few inches for more stability. And we'll just begin hinging at the hips, kind of drawing crescent moons around our feet here. So elbow to knee or shin, wherever your forward fold takes you, and then over to the other side. So we really want to allow that lower back to release here. We'll take 3 more breath cycles. So inhale one direction, exhale the other. Allow yourself to hang even more and more heavily. After your 3rd breath, we'll release the hands. If your feet have stepped apart, go ahead and bring them in. Big toes touch, heels about 1 inch apart. We'll inhale to monkey pose. So palms to shins, shoulders roll back, flat spine here. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Slightly bend the knees. We'll press through the heels, lift the arms out to the sides, and press all the way up. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Drop the shoulders down. Think nice long neck again. We'll gently come down into just a little chair pose. We're not going to go very deep today. Find your balance here. We'll inhale, put the weight to the right foot. pull the belly button back towards the spine, and begin lifting up your left foot onto the toes. So working on our balance here, finding that stability. Now here we're going to step with the left foot over an imaginary bench and land ourselves in a low lunge. So if you need to grab a wall or something for a little stability, now is a good time to do that. If your balance is feeling on par today, lift up that left leg, step it nice and high over that imaginary bench. We'll slowly kick it out behind us and land it down. So low lunge or crescent lunge here. Check in with your right knee. You want to make sure it's stacked directly on top of that right ankle. If you ever catch yourself, oh, my whole mat just moved. If you ever catch yourself like this isn't good for the knee. So we want to work that foot out so it's underneath the knee. And if this doesn't feel good to you, you can always come up a little higher so that foot is farther forward than your knee, but we never want it behind the knee. So stay here for a moment. Maybe you get a little bouncy. A modification here, if this feels like a little too much on your hamstring and your glute, is you can drop that left knee down. Top of the left foot comes flat to the mat. So this is another great way to get into that left hip flexor. So no matter what version you took, you can keep your hands in prayer pose together. Or maybe you bring it up to the knee and press forward. We'll take one more breath here. And if you're dropped like this, go ahead and flip the left foot on the toes, lift that knee up, bring the hands back to heart center. If you're already here, great. And we're gonna get a little bouncy here, using a little bit of balance. You can grab the wall, and feel free to watch me first, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna launch and put our weight into that right leg, and see if you can bring your left leg up in front of you. So you can step your foot up and try to bring it up. Maybe you just hover your toes on the mat. That's the level of balance you're feeling today. Or maybe you really want to go for it. My balance is giving me trouble today. So you can also try to launch all the way up. So maybe try to do this 2 or 3 times and just gauge your balance today. Bring that leg back. Whenever you've finished 3 times, drop your legs. Good job. That was tricky. Big breath in. Arm circle. Let's do one more. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do this on the other side, and then we'll bring our heart rate back down. So, toes together. Come into a gentle chair pose, just an inch or 2. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. Big breath. Begin bringing the right foot up to the toes. Weight goes into the left foot. And maybe you grab onto a wall or something for support. When you feel ready, slowly lift that right foot up over your imaginary bench and land it all the way behind you. Check in with that left knee. Make sure it's on top of your ankle, that the ankle isn't closer to your body. Or you can also come up a little higher. Maybe you stay here with that right knee lifted. Maybe you drop it down to the mat for more support. If you drop it down, make sure the top of the right foot is flat on the mat. And no matter whether or not you're lifted or dropped down onto the back knee, your hands can stay together in prayer pose, or maybe they come to your thigh as you press forward. Don't forget to breathe. If your back knee is dropped, we will flip the right foot onto the toes, bring the hands back to prayer pose, lift the back knee up. We'll get a little bouncy here. So you guys remember what we did on the other side. We're going to either walk that right foot forward and bring it out in front of us, whether that be our right toes on the mat, maybe bring it up a little higher, or maybe you try to launch it all the way up. But wherever you find yourself, let's do this 3 times. Focus on your breath. Don't forget to breathe. Whenever you've finished your 3rd time, inhale, big arm circle up. Exhale, release the arms. Let's do another one. Inhale, exhale. We'll bring the hands together at heart center. We'll cross one foot in front of the other, and we're going to sit down. So maybe you can do it without hands at all. Maybe you need to put some fingers down for support. Just work on getting yourself to a comfortable seated position. Maybe grab a sip of water. And we'll sit here for just a moment, catch our breathing, catch our breath. Maybe bring your hands to your belly or to your heart, or one to each again, just like we began class. Notice the way your heart is feeling, if it's pumping. Notice your breath. On your next breath, we'll take our right hand to the mat, to our side. We'll inhale, lift the left hand up overhead, and gently begin a side stretch here. So maybe that right hand stays right next to you. Maybe you walk it out a little bit. Maybe you have it in your mobility to drop down to your forearm. Lots of options here. But we want to keep a straight line from hip to our finger. So straight all the way. If you ever catch yourself leaning forward, bring it up a little bit so you can keep that straight line. Inhale and feel this through your rib cage. So send the breath between each rib. Check in with your body. Notice any areas where you're tensing to compensate for this. Maybe you can relax your legs or relax your forehead. Inhale, lift back up, arms up overhead, big breath, palms face each other. Exhale, left hand down, reach over. And check in with your shoulders. It's really easy to crunch those shoulders up, drop them down. Breathe into that rib cage. And gently lift back up, arms up overhead, palms face each other, big breath. Exhale, we'll cactus the arms, drop them down the spine. Nice long neck again. You can stay here. Maybe you'd like to take a gen by lifting the chin to the sky. Imagine that string pulling your heart up too. So nice big heart opener here. We'll inhale, hands back up overhead, head returns to neutral. We'll drop the hands down. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a nice tight bear hug. Try to grab opposite shoulder. Maybe tuck your chin. A nice counter stretch for that big chest opener we just did. And let's switch arms. And gently release, bringing the hands to the knees or to the shins. Maybe give yourself a few neck rolls. I have a dreamin' doggy right in front of me. I don't think you guys can see her, but she's running. It's funny how they do that. And whenever you feel like you have completed your neck stretches, what you need to complete, you'll just meet with a neutral head. We'll bring our hands to our knees. We'll close out our class by taking 3 deep breaths. With every inhale, welcoming in whatever it is we need in our lives in this moment, maybe throughout your day, through your week, until next class. We're going to welcome that in. So any positive thoughts, feelings, actions, words, whatever it might be, we're going to create space for it and welcome it in today. And when we exhale, we're going to really let ourselves let go of the things that are not serving us, the things we would like to let go of, the things that are creating weight in our lives that we'd like to shed, confusion, stress, whatever it might be. So feel free to be really loud with your inhales and exhales. This is a really great part of class. So when you're ready, we'll take our first breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We'll hold our final breath. So when you're ready, draw in. And exhale. And we'll let our breathing return to normal. Bringing hands to heart center. I ask that we all leave class today with kindness, compassion, love, and gratitude in our thoughts, in our words, and in our hearts. Class has come to an end. You may open your eyes if they were closed. The light within me sees and respects the light within all of you. Thank you for being here today.